Hey, everybody. Hello. How are you all doing? I'm just hoping that we're all here, that you guys are checking in. What's going on? Let me know if you can see me, what's happening. Um, I was just hoping that you would all only see the picture tonight. So we're checking in real quick. I did a live earlier, but yeah, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about, we've been doing a series on broken promises, broken dreams, broken possibilities. But of course, we have what's possible, guys. We definitely have what's possible. We've been talking about it. So as you come on in, I'm just saying hello to you, to you, to you, and to you. Broken pieces, how to live life fully. Broken pieces, how to live life fully. And I'm just hoping that, we are connecting somewhat. So let me know if you can hear me. I'm going to test it in just a second. Thank you for being here. I'm chatting all of this and there was no audio. It's RN2 CEO in the building, in the house. How are you doing tonight after dark? Yeah, I'm not sure why the photo is not up there. It should be, but it's not. And so I'm not sure. Can you say 23? All right. Can you say 23? Thank you, OPX, for coming on in. This is what it's about. It's after dark, y'all. What more is there to see? And it depends on what time zone you're in because we're all over the place. That's the thing about being on YouTube. It's you get the freedom to just be, you get the freedom to show up. And so I'm excited for those of you who are able to come in. You're able to check out the channel. And I just want to say thank you for being here. It's after dark. And I want you to take a moment just to breathe. Take a moment to breathe. Take a moment to relax. There's no need to rush. There's no need to try to figure it out like, where is this voice coming from? Who is behind this microphone? There's no need for you to do that. Sometimes all you need to do is breathe. And from the broken pieces, I almost entitled this Beautifully Broken, because sometimes there's beauty from ashes. There's beauty from the pieces. And once you are broken or you've experienced a broken dream, a broken promise, or broken possibilities, from that you can come stronger and better. So, this is a time for you to stop. This is a time for you to breathe. This is a time for you to know that you are worth it. So thank you for coming in. If it's your very first time, I welcome you. Double tap the screen, just double tap so you can give a thumbs up to say, hey, thank you for the shout out. Thank you for the support. I have no problems doing that. I've been doing a series on brokenness, and It's not in the negative or depressing way. It's what, when they say, how can I make lemonade from some lemons? And that's what life is about. How do you pick up those broken pieces? What is it that you are going through currently? Or can you think of a moment in time where you were broken, where you thought that it's so difficult that you would never even come back from it? I just want to continue our conversation on the previous live. The one before this, we spoke about shame and guilt because you might have failed or you weren't able to get the results that you thought you should have. But life can be funny. Life can be funny. Life itself will take you out for the count. Life will take you out for the count. And I am going to say this to you while I move around and get myself settled here, that all things are possible. All things are possible. And you've heard it before. If only you believe. It sounds like a fairy tale, right? If only you believe that all things are possible. And what I'd like to say is this, that it's based up on the conversations that you have with yourself. Joe Main, thank you. Thank you for being here. Jesse, thank you. Yes, sooner or later, life will show up for you. Life will show up based on what you choose or the stories you choose to tell yourself. What are the stories that you're telling yourself? What are the conversations that you're having? Because the moment you tell yourself that you're unable to succeed, that you're unable to do this thing, and so it is. Remember this, or if you've never been told, or you're trying to understand the concept that you are what you speak, you are what you attract. So, whatever or whomever you're attracting in your life, that's telling a lot about who you are. And so it will require you to lift, and I'm going to say it, your vibrations, right? To lift how you feel, conversations that you're having, even the music. A lot of people will say, well, what does it have to do with the music? I don't even need to go into it so deep. But certain things that are embedded in our music, or the most visible thing, or the thing that will stand out even more, are the words that you're listening to. If you're listening to music and songs that do not inspire you, that do not uplift you, then you're telling your body something else. Something is being written by what you are hearing. Now, folks will say, well, it's real life. This is what's happening now. Well, it depends, right? It depends on how that's being presented. So, yes, the broken pieces, it could be shattered all over. But just think about it. One of those pieces, if you are able to pick that up, you could turn your life around. You could change the lives of other people. But as you've heard before, that no matter what's happening, put on the oxygen mask first, right? You want to put that mask on first. You want to make sure that you can breathe. You want to make certain that you're getting oxygen to your brain. And you want to make certain that you're capable and that you're fully able to support someone else. So this is what I want to say to those of you who understand that you're on this planet to do something different. You're not here to make jokes, to make smart statements, to crack a joke here and there, and wasting your precious time. You're here to do so much more. and there's a reason why you are here. Some people will ask the question, what is my purpose? Why am I here? And even with the broken pieces in the dreams, how could I get to where I need to go if every time I take 2 steps forward and it's like I fall back 3 or 4 steps? And that means it's going to take me twice as long, supposedly, to get to where I need to go. So that's the kind of conversation, guys, that we should be having about broken pieces and broken promises and broken possibilities. And, I've been doing, like I said, the series. You can go back and take a listen to them. I'm not going to be too long winded, but I wanted to just make certain that I could come in and just connect with you on this. I've been telling the story about my experience with YouTube. And the experience has been something else, guys. The experience has been something else. And I spoke about, you know, uh, I spoke about, my hours with YouTube, and many of you are on this journey. You're in on this journey to to get these hours, and it's a little bit ridiculous. It's a little bit ridiculous that YouTube itself. Yes, I'm going to talk about YouTube because, if I'm talking about anything being broken and shattered and possibilities and things that may seem as if it weren't going to work out, it's we've got to have those conversations. And so while on the road trying to get these 4,000 hours and the 1,000 subscribers, what I found out more than anything is to be consistent. Be consistent. Pick up the broken pieces, dust yourself off, and start all over again. And we do that in different, in our lives, in different situations. Think about the time that you have to pick up the broken pieces, even when you felt broken, even when your heart just was like, I can't deal with this. Even the disappointment in front of your family, in front of your friends, maybe in front of your children, or just being in places and spaces where all the disappointments, the things that you expected didn't happen, and it shattered into a million, or you could say hundreds, or it shattered into maybe 50 different. It's like having a vase or a jar or glass, and it just fell and it's all splinter is shattered. You'll have some pieces that are big enough for you to pick up, and then there's some pieces that you can't see. Those pieces that we can talk about, it could be like the pieces about forgiveness, the things that we don't see, the things that we think that we, oh, I've taken care of it. And when just like that glass that, let's say it fell on the floor and it's shattered to all these little pieces, and they're big ones, they're mid-sized ones, they're small ones, tiny ones, and they're the ones that you can't see. The ones you can't see seem as if they're the most dangerous when they're all dangerous, all those pieces. But what I'm saying, it's the ones that you can't see. That even when you think you've cleaned up the floor, you've mopped it up, you went over it with a paper towel or something, but then there's this little splinter that one night you might be walking in the kitchen and you feel, oh, like, ouch, something got you. And it's just a little sharp splinter from that glass that maybe fell a week ago or something like that, and you thought you got all the pieces. And the possibility that little piece, that small piece, that broken piece could be forgiveness or unforgiveness because you're holding on to some things. So when disappointments come, when other things step into your way, and it stops you, and that pause, that powerful, beautiful pause that I've been talking about, and you don't do the work to really get that splinter out of your foot, right? or your hand or wherever it got because you weren't able to see it with a natural eye. And what I'm saying is this: forgiveness or unforgiveness is one of those things that could take up residence in your body. Let's talk about that. Yeah. Broken little pieces that are shattered, that you thought that you got them, but this one thing that you're holding on to. Welcome on in, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. It's RN2CEO, really meaning that you need to nurture yourself, mind, body, soul, and spirit. Nurture yourself and your business, especially if you are an entrepreneur. And this is what we talk about here. If you're just coming in, double tap the screen, and so that we can continue this conversation and push this out. For me, when it comes to YouTube, all of us are, a lot of people, we're doing the same thing. We have on our cameras, we're vlogging, we're telling the stories, we're listening to the gurus, we're trying to figure out the algorithm. But if you decide to show up in a place, in a space where you are just going to be you, you're going to be your authentic self. We hear that a lot. I'm going to be my authentic self. Heck yeah. I'm going to be me, because if you allow yourself to be swayed by the wind to the left and to the right, and then you're trying to be this thing one day and the next thing the next day, I said to myself, what if I just show up on me? As myself. What if I just show up and people see my personality, that I'm a little quirky and funny at times, and most of the times that I will just listen, if you see me on your lives, know that I'm not just there trying to get support. I'm there supporting you because I really like you. If I didn't, I wouldn't with you. Right? And so sometimes too, we have these misconceptions about people because we're behind the screen. We haven't met in person. We're just going from what we think that we know. Last night, I spoke about extending grace to others and extending grace to yourself, because these broken pieces can do a lot of damage, not the big ones that you see, not the ones that you are able to put some gloves on, or you're able to scrape that up. You broke the glass and you're going to say, okay, let's put that in some paper or a paper bag or something so you don't get cut. It's the small ones that you can't see. It's the ones that somewhere that's stuck between somewhere in your kitchen, your floor, your bathroom, wherever you broke that glass. And just one day you're walking and you just feel something very sharp. And it's almost like you can't see it, but you know it's under your skin. It's irritating your skin, and you know that it's there. And you're like, oh my God, I have to get this out. I can't see it, but it's rather annoying and I need to get it out. But it was there all along. And so the small pieces with broken dreams and promises and possibilities, sometimes too, you can hold resentment. And that resentment, like I said, can build up. That resentment can do so much damage to your mind, to your body, to your soul, and to your spirit. So, how do you live a life of joy? How do you live a life of peace? Are the things that you are choosing to do in your life? You don't have to do anything. When I learned that concept some years ago, it's over a decade ago, I was in a particular training. And one of the things I learned, it said, you don't have to do anything. Whether you choose to show up, whether you choose to pay your rent, pay your car fee, do whatever it is you need to do, you don't have to do anything. What if you made a choice and I choose to do that? That feels different. And yes, we understand sometimes there things in life could be your mindset or mental wellness or other things could be going on, why you would feel as if you are unable to do the things that, you know, you just regular stuff, everyday stuff. These things do happen. And so that's what I'm saying to you. to choose to live a life that will give you the joy, that will give you the freedom, that will give you the flexibility. And it's not going to be easy. Just recently, I know a lot of you, some of you, if you're familiar here in the United States, and there's an influencer, amazing lady, Miss Tabitha Brown. And I think she just did a video on entrepreneurship. And she said, baby, that thing that you were doing, maybe you just need to pause for a moment and maybe it's time to go get a job. Now, as an entrepreneur, you know, entrepreneurs, it's like we're out here, we're grinding, we're doing this thing. But there's sometimes too, and I don't think she meant any harm with that. Maybe she should have spoken a little bit more on it. People, and that's one of the things when you put yourself out there and you're speaking, it's almost as if you have to do a disclaimer that entrepreneurship is not for everyone. And if you are following your dreams, if you've just felt like, I know I can do this thing, but there are other responsibilities that I need, other things I need to take care of. And what she was saying, maybe get a little part-time job. And for those who have been following her know that she herself was an Uber driver, Lyft driver, other things that she was doing. And I think what she was doing was speaking to the spirit of others, not to break their spirit, but to say, hey, if you need to do something else in the meantime, it's okay. If you need to do something else, and I fully understand that because there are a lot of entrepreneurs who use an additional stream of income to subsidize their business for just a moment in time because there's certain things that you want to keep in order for you to say, hey, I can continue to do business that way. So I understand she did not mean any harm with it. So yes, here is an entrepreneur who herself for many years, she knew what that was like, going after her dreams, even when it seems as if they were shattered into millions. I want to say just a whole lot of little pieces, right? And during this with life itself, you would lose a loved one. You could lose a loved one. She lost her mom during, the illness of that. And this woman is just, I just think she's pretty amazing and she has a good heart and did not mean any harm by that. Sometimes, too, when people who have experienced some form of brokenness and you decide that, oh, well, let me fix it for them. Let me say this, let me say that sometimes may not be the right time. And I'm certain there's some entrepreneurs who were able to embrace what she had to say. And there were those who were like, nah, I'm following my dreams. I just need to, be supported. But sometimes, too, one has to be realistic and look at that thing. For you, if you are that entrepreneur, and you're saying, I definitely need more. I need to learn how to create something. If you guys have been following me for a while, I'm always telling somebody, get that ebook out there, get that journal, get that thing, put it up somewhere. And a few of you have done that. And it's another way of creating, using your creativity. It's another way of stretching. So, from these broken dreams, and earlier someone said, you can come out better. And I absolutely believe it. If you have experienced that from something that did not work out, but guess what? Like it said, what? All things are working together for my good. And I'm believing that from these broken promises, from these broken pieces, I am gaining peace. My God, peace of mind. I am gaining that because I am choosing, I am making a conscious decision to find something, to find a gem in the brokenness. Well, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for checking in. It's a little bit different, but I really appreciate you being here. If it's your very first time, thank you. Thank you for the thumbs up. My goodness. I'm looking now, I'm seeing the thumbs up. Thank you. So I'm going back and I'm looking at some of the comments. Guys, when I do this form of audio, I am not always looking at the screen, but a few people came in. Someone thinks that not all things are possible. Someone said growing wings and flying into space isn't possible. Maybe in your mind. If you can dream it, if the mind can conceive it, you definitely can achieve it. I remember back in the day we used to watch the Jetsons. We used to watch Star Trek and all those things that they were using. Huh? Guess what? All those things, if you've lived long enough, you'll see what Lieutenant Uhuru and all of them, whatever they were doing that on the spaceship Enterprise, Starship Enterprise, right? All of that was happening back in the day. How many Trekkie fans? Drop me a heart or something. How many Trekkie fans? We're looking a little bit different tonight because the I scheduled this, so I don't even know. I don't even see my picture or anything up there. But if there are any Trekkie fans from Star Trek, The New Frontier, all the things that they were doing, the Jetsons, we're living those lives. People are right now, especially my Gen Xers, or not Gen X, but the Zs and the, forgive me, well, yeah, folks are thinking that, well, all this stuff is new. No, a lot of these things were invented way back decades and decades ago, decades ago. And now we're getting the hang of it. We're being exposed to all of this. So there's nothing new under the sun. Some of the technology that we're now using has been here for decades. It is nothing new. And so a lot of these inventors, they had to go back to the drawing board. Thomas Edison and the light bulb, okay? There was a lot of work to be done. He wasn't the only one doing the work. But there was a lot of work. There were a lot of mistakes made. Even if he failed 99 times, he was like, that's 99 ways I learned how not to to make a light bulb for the light to come on. So, from every mistake, every broken piece, if you can count all of them and you look at it, well, that's not the way to go. This is what I have learned from this particular experience. That happens in life, that happens in business. And then you just have to start again. And I said it before. And if you listen to a lot of these speakers, especially the entrepreneurs, they will tell you they failed more times than they have been successful. They failed more times. Michael Jordan said he missed shots upon shots upon shots. He missed them before he got to be that good. So nothing happens overnight. It made him better. For those who are athletes out there, whether you're playing baseball or basketball or football or tennis or table tennis or ping pong or all of the stuff, right? Volleyball and all of those things, whatever it is that you're doing out there, you have to put the work in. Put the practice, put the work in to get the results you desire. Feed your mind. I know that my content is it's okay. It's good stuff. But it's not the stuff right now that everybody wants. Maybe it's not what the algorithm wants, but I'm going to tell you, if 10 people showed up, at least one, but from the law of average, at least one person got something from this. And that's the idea. From when you are picking up those pieces, what did I learn? What can I contribute to others and to this planet? What is it that I can share that is going to make an impact on the lives of others? These are the thoughts we should be having, thinking about it. My God, I learned from this. You know, there's a few things I've heard. They're saying your mess can be your message. So just think of it from your broken pieces. Your mess could be your message. I'll even go a little bit further. You've heard when they say that test that you've been through will be your testimony. Like, baby, let me tell you what happened. Oh, you're saying this happened to you? Not to diminish what happened to somebody else, but then from your experience, and if somebody's willing and they're open to it, then with that comes some form of wisdom. Yes, you want people to make mistakes on their own and to learn from it. But there are some things that the possibility of you sharing with someone else that can, what took them, or what might have taken them 18 months or 2 years to get to a certain point, whether it's in their life, personal, professionally, whichever way, by you supporting someone, it could cut that down to 6 months, maybe 4 months, maybe even less. What am I talking about? It's accountability. Understanding that you will need accountability in whatever it is you do, personally or professionally. Because from those pieces, from those individuals who might have experienced some things that took them to a place that they didn't want to go. You know, a lot of entrepreneurs, guys, I will tell you, and as an entrepreneur myself, there's some things that man, I messed up, or some things, man, I missed out on it. And then instead of beating yourself up over and over, what did I learn from it? Sometimes it's how we make decisions. Sometimes it's how we choose to lead with our heart instead of our minds. Like with business, you can't always lead in with your heart instead of your mind. You know, on the previous slide before this, I spoke about, well, I really would want you guys to kind of listen to it so I can give you everything because it was really good this morning. It was really good. You know, I recorded it earlier, and I just wanted to share. I wanted to share these series. I wanted to put it out there. It's not just about YouTube. It's not just about me trying to accumulate hours and everything like that, because I had tons of them and lost hundreds of hours. So nothing, it's not impossible. Been there, done that. But what does it require? It requires accountability. It requires of being intentional, all of those things. So if you, and let's go back to YouTube here. If you are one of those people and say, I'm giving up on this because I told you guys I was packing my bags and I was like, this is it, YouTube. This is just taking too long. I've got other things to do. I've got bigger fish to fry. But I wanted to finish what I started. And if you were like me or said, you know what, I'm not leaving this haphazard, I'm going to finish this stuff. So if I have to roll up my sleeves, if I have to put my shoulder to the wheel and do what needs to be done, I'm going to do it. So sometimes, and that's a conversation I needed to have with myself. That's a conversation, a serious conversation. Many times too, I had to dig deep down. And so you probably could think of times when you had to dig deep down to like, oh my gosh, I have to show up for another day. My goodness, just showing up for another day, showing up being brave and bold when inside your heart is breaking and you're really crying inside. And sometimes you just want to show up. And there's some days that you're just tired of being strong when in fact you're falling apart. Now, is there anything wrong with falling apart? A few years ago, I was at an event. This was years ago when the Ilyana Van Zant, she was just coming back. I remember it's if I were to tell you how long ago it was long ago. It was like 2011. Yeah, there I said it. And we were in New York City and she was doing her talk. And I think her book, um, I think it was Broken Pieces. She spoke about losing her daughter and how devastating that was for her and coming back from it. It was just heartbreaking what she experienced. And in the process of coming back out of it, I think there were some letters or journals that her daughter wrote, and she started to read them, and they took a toll on her emotionally. And so it's a great book too, guys. And for her, I remember her doing a talk, and I never forgot that she said, if you are going to have a breakdown at the time, so maybe her philosophy on that has changed, but she said, if that's going to happen for you, give yourself 20 minutes. Give yourself 20 minutes to like, oh my God, feel sorry for yourself, whatever you need to do, no more than that. And then snap out of it. Not everybody's out to snap out of it. And I'm not quoting her word for word, but I'm just saying something to that effect. And that stayed with me this whole time. But what I also found out that it was important to have community around you. It was important to have a good friend around you. And these days, everybody needs a therapist, right? People like, girl, I'm going to see my therapist on Wednesday. It was just like everybody, you know, needs somebody to support them, to help to hold the space for you, because there are limits, okay, and so and there are boundaries too, and so I'm not an expert in mental health. I'm not the expert. Let's just say I'm not the expert. But what I'm saying is this, that sometimes there are folks who may need more support. We all need a little bit more. So I'm not just trying to take myself out of that because we're dealing with a lot that's coming to us. There's so much information that's coming in so fast. The information is coming like this. My goodness. And we have to deal with this. We also have to learn how to filter out some of this information. Guys, if you're typing right now, I can't even see it. Um, so let me know if you're able to hear me. Just drop a heart or something, because for some reason we are not connecting here. Let me see what's going on. I cannot see anyone. Just, you can tap the screen, tap the heart. Let me know that I'm here and I'm not just talking to myself. But it's all good. Sometimes, like I said, it requires being intentional. And you have to decide how you want to show up. So, from the broken pieces, can I pick them up? Can I start all over again? Do I have someone that's going to support me and hold the space for me, who can pull me back from the brink, right? You're like, girl, I'm going 22 minutes. No, you're not. You're whatever you need to do within this time. In other words, what I'm saying, you don't want to have all these bottled up emotions and you don't know what to do with them because all these broken pieces and it's one thing after the other, just on top of each other, and you're just trying to figure it out. This is what happens. This is life. And so I really believe that our purpose here, and so now we go back because we've been all over the place. Thank you for being here. Double tap the screen if it's your first time. I certainly welcome you, and you guys are giving me thumbs up. How super cool is that? Thank you, Desiree. Desiree, thank you for listening. I really appreciate you. And sometimes that's all we need, right? Just to listen. For me, that's something I had to learn. Do you know that? Because, yeah, I could be a chatty catty, an extrovert that somebody said, you're an extrovert, but you have introvert personalities. Because sometimes it takes a lot of energy, Desiree, to be an extrovert. It does. And what people don't understand, I'm one of those extrovert. I can be it when I need to, but I have to make sure that I'm protected. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, I have to make sure that I protect myself. I don't know how many people out there like that. Some of the things that I do host events, main stage events for other people. I have my own thing that I do. And when I show up for that person. I show up to make sure that their audience and that I'm fully in alignment with the vision that they have for what they're doing. And let me tell you something about Desiree and everybody else that's listening in. When you show up powerfully and when you show up and you do the very best for someone or what it is that you're supposed to do, sometimes people will try to underestimate you and they think you don't know your value and you don't know your worth. But the secret to it is this, what I've discovered, that the more that I share, up to, we understand what I'm saying, okay? But the more that I show up powerfully in that way, and I give, and people are blessed in that space, it's the more God bless me. It's the more information that comes in. It's the more the capacity to take in more information comes in. I somehow sometimes cannot even explain it, but I don't pull back. I'm giving my very best. And my audience or my clients, they will know that. They will feel it when you give your best. However, one has to learn boundaries because there are people who are takers and they will suck you dry. And so one has to protect oneself from that. How do you protect yourself? We're talking about the broken pieces and how to mend your life, and I don't even remember what the topic is. You guys can see it, right? But one of them too is self-care. Care enough for yourself. Care enough for yourself that I'm going to take care of me. I grew up seeing my mom just doing so much, taking care of 7 kids, right? And yes, my dad was there. He still is. My mom has passed on and gone in 2022. My dad is still here, and I gotta give him where credit is due. My mom never drove or anything like that, but she was very smart with money. Like, oh my goodness, she worked at one point, but she was very smart with money. Like, how did you do that? Smart with money, smart with real estate, and always wanted the best for her children. And I grew up seeing dad, yeah, dad took care of things, you know, yeah. But I'm going to tell you, you know, mother, we call her, when I got older, I got sophisticated. I was like mother. But mom made sure that things were taken care of. And as children too, we didn't know how did they do it. You know, the bills were paid, make sure the lights are on, make sure there's food on the table. But one of the things I saw her do, and I'm glad I was able to ask her this. I said, Mom, I always noticed when we were little, you would always make sure that when she would put the plates out to put our food in the plates, right? You would see her and she would call all the names from the oldest from, she would always make sure dad's, his name was first. Okay, dun, da 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 dun. And I was a finicky eater, so there were certain things, but I used to love to watch my mom. We grew up in Jamaica, so if you're hearing my accent, I grew up in Jamaica. And I would remember her doing that. And I had conversations with my friends. So my mom would make sure from her husband or dad, right? Dad and all the siblings, everybody's food, everybody's plate had food in it, but not hers. And I had another conversation with a friend of mine. Oh my goodness. Casey and Cassie. Right now I have Cassie's Kitchen Creation. Thank you for being here. Listen, we're going to try the pancakes tomorrow. Not sure if we're going to have all the ingredients, but I got the grandbabies. And we're going to try the pancakes. So Abundance Conversation, we were over there because I was supporting, and then I'm going to come back as RN. So you'll see, you know how it goes. But I wanted to make sure we gave you some time for that. And as we're here talking about food, my mom used to make sure that all the children, from her husband first and all the children, there was food in their plate, but there was never a plate for her. I want to know, is there anybody else that has experienced that awesome video, the prep, and share it with us? Oh my goodness, it's going to be chaotic trying to do it with the boys. It's going to be chaotic, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try. I'm going to try tomorrow. Desiree said her grandma. I'm going to try tomorrow with the pancakes with the boys. So I have Saturday and Sunday. We'll see how much we can do. Yeah, we're going to try it. And definitely you'll see the video and I'll tag you in it. Oh, yes. And Desiree, we're going to pick up on that. But Cassie, the aprons, I was looking for your aprons in your shop. I didn't see your aprons. Can you tell me about the aprons? Um, Desiree said, nice English accent. Yeah, you know, Jamaicans, we're supposed to speak the Queen's language, right? But I have a sister who lives in the UK, and I think her accent is so cute. Oh, my sister. When I'm talking to her, and she's so calm and so proper. So Desiree say your grandmother, right? You saw that. My grandmother was the same thing. The apron is special order. I posted a thumbnail on my community page. Okay, I'll look for it. Yeah, because my birthday's coming up and Christmas. I think we'll do, I would like to get one for Thanksgiving. I'm not cooking, but I think I would look cute in it. I would look cute. I don't cook. But Desiree, and yeah, guys, I'm just here doing this, podcast style. I told you guys what's been happening with me in YouTube. I looked at all the hours that I gained in the last 30 days, and there were a lot of hours. But it seems that even if I had gained those hours, almost 200 and something, and I didn't do a lot of lives, almost 200, even had I would have had more than enough to reach the goal, and I didn't. So that meant I lost hundreds of hours. I lost a lot of hours on those videos that were over 2,000, 1,000, and so forth. But it is what it is. So, virtuous woman, yeah. So, yeah, I noticed that. So, I noticed the same thing with my grandmother. And lots of things, I have time to reflect on it. I needed like 98 hours, and then it kept dropping and dropping, and it dropped. It it keeps it's crazy. I don't know what's happening. How many hours? Right now it's probably telling me it was 98 hours, and probably less than that. But when I timed out over the 365, the hours, there were hundreds of hours that I lost. And so I even lost some this morning, believe it or not. And so I just stopped looking. But I think maybe 120 something now. So if I gained almost 200 hours in the last 30 days, because remember, I was not posting, I just started doing lives, and I needed, maybe at one point I needed 200 and something, 220. It's just really crazy. So, and each time I'm just losing hours. I could wake up and I lose 15 hours, and then I would lose 7, I would lose 6, 2. So I've been losing hours left and right. So a lot of my stuff, it seems like, falling off. So probably a little bit over 100, but they've been holding my hours. And then every 7 days they're releasing it. But at different times, I'm seeing myself losing hours, so I don't understand it. So I just give up. Desiree say the man eats first. Yes. And that was the thing with my grandma. I noticed that. Our grandfather, he would make sure his plate is taken care of. And if there was a piece of meat in there, he would get the bigger part, right? And then the grandkids, because we would visit our grandparents every summer. And I noticed that. And then even with my mom, then I noticed that. But guess what started to happen now? We were recently on vacation, and when I have the grandsons, the two of them, they're little, they're under 5, right? I find myself making sure that they are taken care of, but grandma don't even have time to sit down and eat the pancakes. And I'm like, oh my God, is this history repeating itself? But not to skip over my daughters, I also made sure that they were taken care of, dinner time and everything too. So we can see how a lot of this stuff is just generational stuff. It continues. Thank you. It continues. It's like the chain of command. The man was priority, the breadwinner. And oh my goodness. Thank you, Cassie. Appreciate it. I um I believe that, yeah, the man is a man is a man. And I'm from the Caribbean, man a man. But the young guy here on YouTube, Dante London, and we saw what was happening with him. That's one of the thing here on YouTube. People can turn on their cameras and they can have a a mini a mini show. It's like a reality show. You're seeing this happening in real time, and sometimes they say people like to see a train wreck. They just like to see mess happening. We all like to see a little something something, but we also like to see them come back from it. And this young man now has a wife, and he has a son from a previous relationship, and they were moving on up, to the east side, was making a little money here on YouTube. They got the apartment, the car, and all of those things. And with all of that, to whom much is given, much is required, right? Responsibilities. So we're not going to point fingers at them because they're young. Things do happen because we all made some mistakes when we were younger. We messed up too. But then now, he has to move back home with his mom, and he now has a wife, and she has her parents, and maybe they're not happy about it. So I was watching and listening to another YouTuber who was talking about it. And I was saying that, you know what? Even if his parents or his mom might not have been happy with him moving back home to her house, to the mom's house with a wife and a kid, but I think the kid stays with the mother. And I said, you know what? It's not so much maybe that the mother doesn't like the new daughter-in-law. It's a possibility that the mother could say, you are a man and now you have the responsibility of a wife and a child. And sometimes it's not that you can't get help, but it is where the man is supposed to really be able to take care of a family, supposedly, right? But yeah, and it's not that couples can't help each other. I am one of those people that feel a man is gonna be a man. Let them be, let them do what needs to be done. And can you support your spouse? Absolutely. I believe in that. But also, there's some men out there, and men in my family that I know that they would say they're not getting married until they can have a home for their wife and take care of their family. I've lived that and I've seen that. And there's nothing wrong with that. And many of them, they have done that. When I'm able to do this, this is what they want. So there are those who will, things like that will happen. And so, yeah, the man to take care of business, you're going to take care of him too. Desiree said, to the east side, had to step back, humble oneself. Yeah, it happens. We've all done that. New roles have changed. Desiree say, right? Yeah, the man is the breadwinner. Yeah, my dad was, sure, he just came home with the money and mommy took care of it. Yeah, that's how it was in our house. Yeah. Shoo. And my mom was smart. I was able to ask her. And this is the thing, guys. I'm going to say this. If you have an opportunity to speak to, and it's based upon the relationship, if you have, if you're somebody in your family that's older or have gone through some things, and you are able to have a conversation with them, because you can't with everybody, right? There's always that one auntie you can't ask her nothing because she's going to be loud and everybody's going to know that you were asking her stuff. But if you're able to have those conversations, you will get to see them for who they really are. And many times, when I think about it, I used to watch my mother and my other aunt who passed, and I would watch them when they would laugh and listen to them and they talk and they're just talking, and I'm like, oh my God, they're just, you know, t- they're sisters. They're just laughing and talking, but individually, that's mom, that's auntie. And they were just so kind of stoic in a way, and you grew up a certain way. You would see things. And my mother believed for things to be a certain way. She was very, Christian lady, one of those that wear the nice hat on Sundays, and, very and well respected who she was. And, yeah, I love that about her. But yeah, and listen, ladies, we're going to have another night when we talk about, what are those? Oh, it's a different world. They're a different world. But yes, the man was considered the breadwinner. Now roles have changed. We must prioritize each other's lives and relations. Thank you, Desiree. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Good stuff. Yeah, moving on up to the east side. Yeah, Dante was moving on up to the east side. But it was like, okay, wait a minute. Maybe we kind of move because you need to be sustainable, sustainable income to do all of that. Yes. Oh, absolutely, guys. I appreciate you all coming in and stopping in. And I'm doing this so like I said, I'm getting really serious about the hours. And I did take some time off. Last night I kind of explained. That's why I'm saying, guys, when you see people are going through things, just extend grace to them because you don't know what they're going through. July was very tough. June, I traveled. And those of you, if you're new here, I traveled on a medical mission and came back. We had to get prepared. I was monetized April 6th. The first part was monetization was April 6th. So that was a long time, right? Over the 3,000 hours. And then they say, okay, I wanted to make sure things were in place. So then I just started pulling off my thumbnails because I've seen people who got monetized, didn't have all that stuff, but we were busy getting ready to go on a medical mission in Jamaica, traveling with the team, getting things together. We were having meetings. Oh, it was a lot that was happening. June, and then we traveled and we went to Jamaica. Stayed there the 7th to the 17th, I think. Yeah, did all of that. Come back, came back exhausted. Got a little sick. The change of weather and everything. And then July came around, and July was the anniversary of when my grandson had a very a near fatal accident, guys. And so that kind of kept me in a place and a space. It's one of my grandsons, but I give God thanks. I'm thankful that God spared his life, that everything that he went through, it was something else. And I am grateful. I am so thankful and grateful to God. And so, I kind of took some downtime. And then August is our family vacation. I don't care how old my daughters are. Yeah, we're like every 2 years, every other year, we say we rent a house or something, and that's how we decide to keep things going. And, they're married and whatever. Okay, one is married, but to make it's just all of that. So for me too, it was almost stepping back a little bit and a pause, and it wasn't the priority. So I'm just doing what needs to be done, and that's the thing. If you are if you got to take a little break, do that. Breathe. For me, family is really important. My family is really, really important. And it was something that I always wanted. And so, even when we look at our grandparents or we look at those who are before us, and they did the very best that they knew how with what they had. And when I look at it, they did that. I'm like, man, they did that. Wow. How? You know? And so now we have learned things. And I'm a Gen Xer, right? So I could look at the millennials and like a few things, but they're gonna have to learn. They're learning. And then there's another one after I think two or three more after the millennials. Oh my gosh. And instead of just pointing fingers, they too will find their way. Saw a really nice interview, and I was listening to interviewer, and he said, "You know what? I'm proud of the millennials, and is it the Gen Zs?" And he said, "I'm really proud of you guys." And the first thing he did was telling them how much he was proud of them because they're more into technology. They're, a different way of thinking. And he said, but the thing is this, you don't have to tell everybody your business. You don't have to always be on social media telling everybody everything. So sometimes we have to look and say, what can we do? How can we support them? And he said, wealth whispers. He said, wealth whispers. And you don't have to tell everybody everything. But he also shared the person that was being interviewed, he shared some of his mistakes. He shared some of the opportunities that he missed because he too was young and just wanted to be fly and wanted to do certain things, right? So we can look at different generations, what we have learned, the generation before us or generation before us. Those are the baby boomers, okay? What we could learn from them and what we can also share with others. And so, from the broken pieces, guys, there's something beautiful that can come from it because we're always elevated, we're always moving to the next level. Desiree said they did more than we do nowadays. Wealth whispers, I can dig that. Yeah. I'm trying to remember his name. It was such a good interview. The interviewer, if you guys ever find him, is a podcast, a young man. I just remember his first name is Omar. You guys might have seen him. Omar. Let me see if I can find it. And I was listening to his interview. See, Cassie, I wanted to listen to you when I was driving those almost 2 hours, but because I wanted to see what you were doing, I couldn't with the RN, so I'm going to come back to that. But let me see if I can find it. If you guys can find that podcaster, he's a young kid, young guy, very smart. Let me see if I can find him. Okay. All right. Yeah, I just found him. Okay. His podcast is OMAR Takaro. ELTAKRORI. Just put it in. You'll see him. He wears a baseball cap and he has a beard. Young guy. Oh my gosh, he's so he the gentleman that he interviewed is content advice for people over 40. Uh, Let me see if I can get to it without, I don't want the sound coming through because, hold on there, guys, hold on. All right, so yes, so if you guys are listening, he was, he interviewed, it says in this episode, he interviewed Lee Jenkins. He's a pastor, an entrepreneur, and financial expert on how he built an audience of over 400,000 followers online in just 18 months while he was leading a church and businesses. So the gentleman that he interviewed is Lee Jenkins, and never really heard of him. But he's a pastor, but he was also, and he's also a financial consultant. And he was already a millionaire before church, but he wasn't, as we would say, braggadocious. He wasn't, oh Lord, everybody jumped off going to look for it. But in other words, what I wanted to share with that, it was such a beautiful interview. And the young guy now is doing really well. Omar is doing really well. And he said, you know what? There's just something about your spirit. You're so wise. I want to get an advice from you. And he told him, and he said, I'm very proud of your generation. I'm very proud that you guys are solution oriented. And yeah, you're going to want to have wealth and all of those things. But also, I want you to understand that you don't have to. And he wasn't really like teachy preachy, but he said it in such a way. I'm proud of you guys, but you don't have to come on social media and tell everybody everything because wealth whispers. And I've heard that before. I've been in circles where I've heard that. Lee Jenkins was like, Pastor Lee Jenkins, he was like, yeah, I was young too. I wanted the Mercedes Benz and I lost some opportunities because, I could have invested my money elsewhere, but I wanted this and that too. So he too was young. He too made mistakes. And then sometimes life stepped in. 2008, when the market crashed, right? That happened. So life will step in. You will make mistakes, but you can learn from it. And now years, he's sitting here sounding so wise. Who would have known that he too made mistakes? And from his broken pieces, he was able to take some of that and share with someone. And in turn, a young man who has a podcast, a young man who has a platform that I today was able to listen to this amazing and beautiful interview from his broken pieces. There was something beautiful that came out of it. Such is life. Such is life. Wealth Whispers. That is such a good one. We don't have to put on all the bling on out there. Hey, hey, hey. I got 14 thumbs up. Who are these amazing people? Guys, yeah, just listen with me. Thank you so much. These hours, I still don't understand. They keep telling me, I'm like, man, my videos must have been really popular. I should have looked at how many hours I had on a video that was over 2,000 or something. Yeah, I had a few videos that I think there's a couple, something over 2,000 or one over something else. And they just started, just the hours started disappearing. They just started falling off. The hours are just falling off like crazy. So I'm like, wow, I did have a lot of hours with YouTube. But yeah, so I'm just going with the flow of it, enjoying it, finding new ways how to show up on YouTube. I don't 10:05 p.m. That was our time that we would do our live Monday through Friday. So we're going to come back for the fall, but I think I'm going to do it more of a podcast, this kind of style, because this works well for me. Sometimes, like I'm traveling and I'm moving around, and this will work differently. I think within I'll be in a different time zone, so I may have to schedule some things that will either populate at this time or I'll just do some pop ups. Those are some of the things. So I think what's really happening right now, I spoke before about being resilient in the other episode before this, the bounce back muscle, how you get to strengthen that muscle. And it's a muscle, so you got to work it. And being resilient, you may even become more resourceful. We figure things out. We come from a lineage of where we figure things out. We are going to make this work. We may not have, remember our parents, you may not have that fancy lunch, but they'll figure out something. You're going to have lunch the next day, right? You need a new outfit, you need a new something. I remember my mom would even make our stuff like, oh Lord, can't we just go buy a gown or something or dress when we used to do the little plays and stuff like that? My mother could sew, and my mother would sew. She would just sew it and make it so beautiful. The buttons were beautiful, the ribbons, just being resourceful. My goodness. Oh, I love that woman. Gosh. And that's what we can take from what we've learned and our experiences and the people who have inspired us. We don't need to gatekeep any of this stuff. There's no need to gatekeep any of this. There's a song that say, if I can help somebody while I travel along, then my living shall not be in vain. There's something that you can say and something that you can do that can change the lives of people. And a kindness, just common human decency and kindness. We're seeing too many people right now that's out on the streets that's not supposed to be, right? Some of these people are educated people. And that's why I'm saying when you have a community, when you have people that can pull you back, because sometimes there are folks who will just go over the brink. It is too much. Work in the emergency room, I would see that. The woman that came in and just pretty much lost it. She was just like she was losing her mind. She just had to get it out because she lost her job, her apartment, and she was living in her car. And then the car got ticketed and to be towed, and the police officers ended up bringing her to the emergency room. You would have looked at that woman and you would not have known that she was living in her car. She carried herself well. but it was just too much for her and she just broke down. And so there are little things that can break others. And I'll say this before we go, guys, is to do the best that we can, do the best that we can help others, that we can support others. We do the best that we can. You may not have all the money in the world, but there's a little something that you can do that can make a difference because we all go through. This has been good. This has been great. Thank you so much. I don't know why my phone is doing that. I really appreciate you for spending this time with me. Every minute, every second, it is worth it. Um, it is helping me to get to the next level so I can continue to bring the content. Do go on my page if it's your first time. We do have a membership, but more than anything, I appreciate you choosing to spend time here and giving me a thumbs up. Even if you come back and listen or watch my most recent video, I think it was the powerful pause, something like that, joyful, powerful pause. There is power in the pause. There's power in stopping for a moment. The car cannot run on empty, nor can it run on fumes. But now they have electric cars, so that's a whole nother story right there. But even the electric cars needs to be plugged in. It needs to be rejuvenated, and the same thing for you. So I took a pause because so many things was happening in my life. And I'm choosing, and I made a choice to slow down. For many years, I was ripping and running, and I was just like, listen. And one of the questions we need to ask ourselves, what is the quality, the type of life that you want? What is important to you? These are questions every now and then we should ask ourselves, the quality of life. If 20 years from now, or even now, the quality of life, I want to take care of me. Sometimes you just have to say no because no is a complete sentence. Yes is a complete sentence. No, period. When the kids would say no, period, no. And sometimes you have to say no to things. I'm sure you've heard it. Say no to things so you can say yes to the other stuff later. Because if you fill your life with all sorts of, you're saying yes haphazardly, you're not thinking it through, it's going to come back and nip you in the bud, right? And so they'll get over it. Sometimes you just may have to just say not at this time, and then the right time will show up, and then you will be ready. In the interview, they were talking and asking about tithing and giving, and he said, "Oh, we don't even beat our parishioners, our congregation about, oh, they have to tithe. It's something that you learn. It is a learned principle. So just like anything else, when you are given, you're going to give from a place, from a willing heart. And if he said you give 2%, then 3%, and 4%, then whatever it is, you do that gradually. You want to make certain that when you're sharing information with other people or whatever it is you're choosing to do, it's coming from a place where it feels comfortable. It doesn't feel forced, right? It feels good where that's coming from. And that's how I like to give, because sometimes you don't know what a person is going through. It may look good on the outside, especially for those of us who are entrepreneurs. The buck stops there, it's us. If those invoices aren't paid, you're not getting paid. And you have to figure things out. Oh my gosh, one night we have to talk about entrepreneurship because you're talking about resilience or you're talking about resourceful. You got to figure it out. And it's not so much to stress yourself. It's just like you'll figure it out. So, yeah, guys, we spoke about a lot of things. Check out, Tabitha Brown. I don't know why people are coming down on her. She probably just didn't have time to say everything. But I don't think she's telling anybody to give up on their dreams. It's just how to have additional sources of income. And sometimes, too, in entrepreneurship, you will get to a point that you're not really working your business because you're just, like, I need a break. And sometimes, too, you can't afford to have too much of a long break because there are consequences. Things do happen. Okay, it do happen. And so then you have to get back on the ball and say, let me take care of this. So I don't think she meant any harm by that. So if you're at the place in the space and then you have to create another stream of income, go for it. Do it. It is what it is. All right. But don't give up on your dreams. So from these broken pieces, guys, thank you for being here. From all these broken dreams, promises, and I'm going to do a playlist for them so you guys can listen to it. As you notice, I'm not into the negative. We flip it into the positive. Speak those things that it may not be right now, but when you speak it, you're putting it out there in the atmosphere. When you're praying about it, it is so, because God's will must be done. All right. And speaking of done, so am I. Stick a fork in me. I'm done. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for listening. It's been good. It's been great. Until next time, I'll see you. Take care now. Bye bye.